Hey everyone, good morning. I am, of course, Comic John. Yeah. So this weekend I checked out an awesome movie. A pretty fun movie. Captain America, the First Avenger. Well, yeah, last week was doubleheader. I did two films, as you know. The other one I had my associate Mr. Puppet do. He did a pretty good job. There's stuff he missed, but oh well. For me, well, like I said, I did Captain America, the First Avenger. It was a pretty fun film. There were some elements about it I was worried about when I came in, like Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, Captain America, because I'd seen him as Johnny Storm, Human Torch. I hated that character. There's even some other stuff where I wasn't too fond of his character too. But he did a real good job portraying Captain America in this one. At least better in comparison to the other guys who did the film. Which is right, I got to see a marathon of those before seeing this. And wow, this is far superior to that stuff. It is leagues above the others. So, yeah. I mean, they even handled the cheese well. Let's get into the pros and cons. The pros, they handled the cheese well. There's a lot to be said in Captain America's regard. He is probably the cheesiest of the Marvel heroes. Because of his theme, his name, his attire, and all the like. They handled representing Golden Age Captain America well. And of course, the real Captain America, the one we all love. And let's face it, you'll never be able to make the winged mask look really good. Because the wings are still ridiculous. But really, I had a good time believing it was serious. That was where the other films failed. They took that cheese and treated it seriously. It's not meant to be taken seriously in a modern perspective. I mean, you look at what's from the golden silver age of comics these days, and you're just like, it's pretty ridiculous. So you never really take it seriously. Because it's not serious, it's just stupid. Now let's see now, moving along, there are some cons. For example, in the second half, once all the character development is out of the way, they rush too much at once, which also includes further character development. For example, well, I hate to spoil, but I apologize for spoiling, but when Cap busts into the Hydra base and rescues his good buddy Bucky, they don't develop on that at all. It's just, thanks for saving me, Cap. Let's go to the next fights. And that's it. And then his rag tattoo is just like, we're in. Boom. And then, well, taking down the Hydra bases pretty much becomes like a montage from an 80s and 90s sports film. So that's probably the one thing I found to riff on the film about. That montage sequence, because in the end I'm just like, oh boy, now it's time for them to take the championship from the Red Skulls team. As it was honestly ridiculous how fast-paced it was. I mean, never mind the director was in fact the guy who gave us The Rocketeer, another period piece film that I liked. This was one of the first action films I ever saw as a kid. No, seriously, it was. It's the first one on memory I've seen. I think the first one was actually Dick Tracy and the Ninja Turtles, but yeah. One of the first was, in fact, on memory, The Rocketeer. And I had a lot of fun seeing that. And whenever I have a chance, I tune in to see it. Like, I saw it the other day on TV, but I had to get out the door to work, so I couldn't watch it. Oh, man, that sucked, but still. So yeah, that was pretty much the con of the film. It moved stuff too quickly in the second half. Didn't bother to do the development for characters who needed it at that point. Like, what about the closure for Cap and the fact that he's in the future? Or how about the closure for his girlfriend, Patty? Or, I can't remember her name right now. Yeah. It's the thing. What about their closure? How did each character truly act in the end? And all we get from Captain America when he awakens to the future and Nick Fury fills him in on everything is, I had a date. And then we go to credits. Is that really all we get in terms of that? And, develop on it a little more. Show a bit of, some sorrow. I mean, I don't mind a fast-paced development, but don't just go out on a one-liner toward the fact. Give us a little more of something, like, I don't know, a shed tear, him looking into the locket again one more time. Something that had to do with development. Anyways, these nitpicky things are not enough for me to say this film was awful. It was, in fact, a good film. And everyone else is chiming in the same tune. It's a great film. Check it out. See it. It's a lot of fun. I myself will probably check it out again at some point in 3D, because my original viewing of it was in 2D. Because I had been too nervous to bother with the 3D since it was a post-rendering. And most of the films I saw with 3D effect that were post-rendered, they were awful. The 3D was not great. Case in point, Last Airbender. Where was the 3D in that? Someone care to explain or point out where it was? I didn't really see much of anything. Because so far, yeah, the only films I've really enjoyed the 3D in were the ones that were CG. And, well, Transformers 3 gets points for its 3D. And that's all it gets points for in that film's case. So yeah, this was one of the two superhero films I had high expectations for this summer. The other, which I already saw, being Green Lantern, did fail to make the mark. Did miss its mark. There was a lot to that film I didn't like, but I'm not going to go into detail on it here. There's another video coming in the future, probably after its DVD release, because I want to do some comparison and contrast to both the PG-13 Green Lantern films. That is right, folks. There was, in fact, a direct-to-video animated release Green Lantern movie that was rated PG-13. But it didn't deserve the rating. It did nothing to prove it earned the rating, unlike the live-action one. But we'll get into that when the time comes. For now, we're on Captain America. This I had expectations for. Thanks for meeting them, Captain America. Thank you for going above and beyond them, probably. Hugo Weaving did a great job as the Red Skull, but then he does a good job as the antagonist. And I have to agree with one reviewer. It's pretty much this decade's Tim Curry in that he typically plays the antagonist. But he does it so well. I mean, he did a great job as Agent Smith. He did a good job. He did somewhat of a good job with Megatron. And probably the only protagonist he played, Elrond. And you barely saw him, though, because at the time he was shooting the Matrix sequels. And then there was this, the Red Skull. He was pretty good as the Red Skull. Although, yeah, Red Skull did become a little bit lame after throwing out the mask. Isn't it? It's like, like cocky. I mean, his death wasn't what was anticlimactic. It was pretty good. Again, the anticlimax came in the end, very end, when he awoke in the future. So, now to sum this up overall, see it. It's worth your while and your money, especially if you can get a matinee price. That's all the better for you in that film's case. And have fun with it. Maybe someone else will point out some stuff to hate on it more than what I did or what others did. But I haven't seen a lot of stuff to hate on other than, well, yeah, the second half ran too quickly. Like, they took their time during the first half, just all the character development for Bucky, character development for Wimpy Steve, character development for the girl who was his love interest. You didn't have to develop Tommy Lee Jones' character, he's just Tommy Lee Jones. Although, yeah, and he did a more comical version of a sergeant than one the guy like Arlie Hurdy would have. I mean, I have respect for Arlie Hurdy. I like his drill sergeant roles. But he mostly does it in terms of a Marines level. So that's probably why he couldn't have done this, because he's definitely a Marine guy, not an Army guy. If you're doing anything Marines based, use him. Well, that's my final thoughts. Great actors, great film. Check it out when you get a chance. I know I'm going to do it again in 3D. See what that's like. So until next time, tune in, because there's another doubleheader this week. I'm going to be checking out tomorrow night Tekken Blood Vengeance, a special one-night airing in 3D. And then this weekend, probably going to get off the fence. And so right now I'm on the fence about it, but probably going to get off it and check out Cowboys and Aliens. Till then, see you next film.